With the new year finally here, I thought it would be a fun video to go over my top 10 favorite movies of 2022. What's on that top 10 list, you wonder? Coming right up. What's up, fellow cinephiles? This is Dominic from Film Overload, the channel where we talk about movies, pop culture, and everything in between. In today's video, I thought it would be fun to go over my top 10 movies of the year 2022. Now, there wasn't many great movies this year. In fact, there was a lot of mediocre to garbage content coming from Hollywood this year, but there was a couple of diamonds in the rough, I thought, that really shined brightly in this year of abysmal content. So kicking off this top 10 list, at my number 10, I have the movie Smile. I thought this was the best horror movie of 2022, and a movie I did not see coming. Paramount already had a great start to the season with Top Gun Maverick, and then going into Smile, they had another really solid film on their hands. Now, I completely see the It Follows comparison. Yes, I understand the comparison, but I was able to push those comparisons aside and really be taken in by this movie and its intensity, and it was just a really solid, nice horror thriller movie that really caught me off guard and really left me with a really unsettled feeling after walking out of my local cinema. So props to Paramount for making this movie, and the best horror movie, in my opinion, of the year 2022. At number 9, I have The Outfit. This is a crime thriller film starring Mark Rylance, and I thought that this movie was actually incredibly enjoyable. And it follows most of the tropes of the crime genre, but I thought that director Grant Moore really had something unique on his hands, creating one of the most intense films of 2022, in my personal opinion. And who doesn't love Mark Rylance? I have yet to be disappointed by Mark Rylance in any of the movies I have seen him in yet. So props to Graham Moore and his film for really capturing that entertaining aspect. Now, coming in at number 8, I have the film RRR. This is a movie that I have heard so much about, and I had to check it out because of how many people were talking about it, and I was not disappointed. A really solid story about friendship and the value of friendship and the ups and downs of friendship, and it really was put on display in this film. Now, the runtime for some people might be a little bit of a turnoff, but if you can get through those 3 hours, it is definitely worth your time. I thought this was one of the most unique films of 2022, making it one of the best movies of 2022 as well. So props to the crew for making this movie, and I really hope it has some Oscar buzz with the foreign language category. Now, coming in at number 7, I have Bullet Train, directed by David Leitch. This movie was a movie that I had wished I had seen in the theaters when it came out this past summer, but I really thought this movie was quite good. Not perfect, but good. It was the action movie I think that everyone needed this year to kind of cleanse the palate of mediocre content that we got all throughout this year. This movie has laughs, it has some charm, it has a great cast, a good mix of characters, and Brad Pitt just doing what Brad Pitt does best. And I thought that he really carried this movie, in my opinion, along with some really solid performances from the other actors around him, and with a great kind of world building through David Leitch's direction, and just everything that he brings to the table as a director really came full throttle in this movie. So shout outs to David Leitch and his crew for making the year's best action film, and one of my personal favorites of this year. Coming in at number 6, we have Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. I liked this movie. It's not nearly as good as the first one, which I think is near perfect. But it was a fun time. Ryan Johnson is back with another mystery and with another big cast, so that means a lot of eyes were on this film. And while the film's not for everyone, I thought that Ryan managed keep my interest pretty much throughout the majority of the sequel. I thought the cast was really well. He casted another great group of actors to play these characters, and the mystery aspect of it was really well done. Again, not as good as the first movie, but it was pretty well done, making it one of my personal favorites from this past year. We have finally made it to my top 5 movies of 2022. Again, in a year of very mediocre content, these are the 5 movies, in my opinion, that stood out to me the most. And starting with number 5, I have Sonic the Hedgehog 2. As a fan of the video games, as a fan of just him as a character, and as a fan of the first film, I really had high hopes for the sequel, and I'm glad those high hopes were met with the final results of the sequel. I really thought that this was a solid sequel. It was a fun family film, a lot of chuckles, a lot of references to the video games, a really solid message in there as well, which I won't go into because of spoilers, but I thought this movie was a fun time. This was another movie that I wish I would have seen in the cinema, but unfortunately I didn't get there to see it. But hopefully for Sonic 3, which I think could be a really special movie, in my opinion, considering how the second one ended with the end credit scene, I really think this could be a really solid trilogy. But shout outs to Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for making it in my top 5 movies of 2022. At number 4, I have The Banshees of Inisherin, a movie that I was looking very forward to, and I'm very glad that it made it this high on my list because I absolutely thought this film was great. Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, just a solid combo on screen. Barry Keoghan, in my opinion, has the best supporting performance of the year, and Carrie Condon a best supporting actress performance of the year. This movie just had everything. It had laughs, it had darkness, it had a story to tell, a great script, great direction, and I think this movie could do some serious damage come Oscar time, and I really hope it does. This was one of the best films of the year, in my opinion, so shout out to the crew behind this movie, and I really hope that this movie does a lot of damage come award season. At number 3, we have Robert Eggers' The Northman. This movie was truly a lot of fun to watch, but also very, very dark as well. Through Eggers' writing and directing style, through the great performances by Alexander Skarsgård, Anya Taylor-Joy, Ethan Hawke, Nicole Kidman, and the list goes on. I thought Eggers really captured that epic that people were really lacking this year, and he does it with ease. I was kind of skeptical going into this movie because of his other movies being The Witch and The Lighthouse, but this movie is nothing like those 2 movies at all. This is just a epic revenge story set in the Norse timeline, and I think Eggers just delivers one of the best films of 2022, in my personal opinion. Damien Chazelle does it once again, and Babylon is my second favorite film of 2022. Damien Chazelle really hasn't made a bad film, in my opinion. Once again, I absolutely love La La Land. I love Whiplash. I thought First Man, while not as potent as the other 2, was a solid film. And Babylon is just another movie showing Chazelle's just epic direction and his writing style. I think he really is a very influential director in the modern time of Hollywood, and I think that he will continue to be that influence that will influence other young filmmakers to go out and make their films. I think Damien Chazelle has a very unique voice as a director and a writer, and it shows in Babylon. Margot Robbie is fantastic. I hope she gets some award consideration. Brad Pitt is fantastic. Diego Calva really holds his own with Pitt and Robbie. And just this movie is just so unique, and that's what made it one of my personal favorites of 2022. And finally, at number 1, which I think will be a lot of people's number 1 this year, is Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick is an awesome movie. It is a movie that everyone loves. Critics adored it, the audience adored it, and as a result of those two things, one of the biggest box office successes of 2022. I really believe this is the film that people will remember 2022 by. This movie is awesome. And while it follows very similar beats to the first one, I don't think people cared. I think people just really wanted that good movie. Again, in a year of just absolute garbage for content coming from Hollywood, Top Gun Maverick was a breath of fresh air, and word of mouth spread about this movie, and it just did numbers that were just unbelievable. Lasting so long in theaters, and for good reason, because this movie is amazing. Tom Cruise is the man. He is the last movie star, in my honest opinion, the last true movie star, and he continues to carry Top Gun into the future. And I hope they make a Top Gun 3, which I think they will, because I will be there day one when that movie comes out. So Top Gun Maverick is indeed my favorite movie of 2022. So there it is. That is my top 10 from this past year, which was 2022. Again, a year of just awful content with a few diamonds in the rough here and there from Hollywood. And I really hope that 2023 has a lot better movies than the previous year that we were given. I really have high hopes for 2023. I think there's a couple of really interesting releases here and there that I think could really do a lot of good things for film fans like myself and yourself. And I really hope this following year, this coming year, this new year that we are in, I really hope that this year supplies us with a lot of good content, unlike the year prior. If you liked what you saw here today, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, turn on the bell notifications so that you can get notified every single time I post a video. You can follow me on Letterboxd, which is right here. I post all of my movie reviews once again on Letterboxd, as it helps me keep track of movies that I have watched, movies that I haven't watched, and movies that I will watch. And I think you guys would benefit greatly from this app and this website as well if you are lovers of cinema like myself. As always, guys, happy movie watching, happy 2023, and take care.